Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia, and today we're continuing our Liu Biao, the governor of Jin Let's Talk Lore series with episode 2, titled Evicting Yuan Shu. Before we get started, here is the answer to our trivia question from our previous episode, and be sure to stay tuned for a new trivia question at the end of this episode. Now, we ended last time as Liu Biao took control of the vast majority of the Jin province with the help of 3 local gentry clans in the Kuai, Cai, and Huang clans. However, the northernmost commandery of Nanyang still remained defiant, as Yuan Shu and his forces were classified by the central government as rebels due to their hostility against the current region in Dongzhuo. Liu Biao at this time did not want to actively engage himself in this conflict between the coalition and Dongzhuo, so he tried to appease both sides. On one hand, he refused to join the coalition in an attempt to demonstrate his loyalty to the court and Dongzhuo, but on the other hand, he also recommended Yuan Shu to officially become the new administrator of Nanyang to the court in an attempt to legitimize Yuan Shu's occupation of this commandery and to appease Yuan Shu. However, Liu Biao's plan to remain neutral failed, largely because Yuan Shu had much bigger ambitions. When his general Sun Jian marched north and helped him kill both the former prefect of the Jin province in Wang Rui and the former administrator of Nanyang in Zhang Zi, Yuan Shu already believed that he had control of the entire province. Liu Biao's appointment by the court, and thus Dongzhuo, was in Yuan Shu's eyes just a countermeasure against himself and the coalition. Therefore, the only solution was to now send General Sun Jian to kill and evict Liu Biao from Xiangyang. And when Sun Jian's army approached, Liu Biao responded by sending out Huang Zu, who he had just promoted to become the new administrator of Jiangxia, to hold back Sun Jian's army on the north bank of the Han River at a fortification called Fan Castle. However, given the severe disparity in experience between the two sides, as Sun Jian's forces had just returned from taking the burning city of Luoyang from Dongzhuo's army, while Huang Zu's troops were relatively new recruits, it's no surprise that the defenders were quickly overran as Huang Zu was forced to pull back to the city of Xiangyang on the south bank of the Han River. Sun Jian then proceeded to place Xiangyang under siege, but before the enclosure was complete, Liu Biao managed to order Huang Zu to flee south to other commanderies in hopes of pulling their garrisons and returning with an army capable of breaking Sun Jian's siege. While Huang Zu was away, Liu Biao relied on the strong fortifications and natural moat around the city of Xiangyang to hold off Sun Jian's assaults until finally Huang Zu would return with reinforcements. Unfortunately, when Huang Zu's forces appeared on the horizon, Sun Jian quickly organized an army to charge directly at Huang Zu's lines, and once again, Huang Zu's army was shattered. Huang Zu and a small detachment would flee south towards Mount Xian, only for Sun Jian to give chase, as Sun Jian wanted to kill Huang Zu to further demoralize the defenders inside Xiangyang and prevent any future reinforcements. Yet as an overeager Sun Jian charged headfirst into the heavily forested mountain path of Mount Xian, he fell into an ambush as Huang Zu managed to use his head start to lay a trap using the terrain advantages offered by Mount Xian. And arrows were rained down from behind every tree, as Sun Jian, who was leading the pursuit, would be struck multiple times as he fell from his horse and would die here at Mount Xian at the age of just 37. Sun Jian's nephew Sun Ben would assume control of the remaining army as they fought their way to recover Sun Jian's body and escape the ambush. But with Sun Jian now dead, his forces, which consisted of a large number of Sun clan members, lost their appetite to continue the fight, as they would end the siege of Xiangyang and retreat back to Nanyang to regroup with Yuan Shu. Now, without his best general, Yuan Shu will be forced to halt his aggression against Liu Biao, even though later in the same year, Liu Bu would actually approach Yuan Shu to enter his service, as after Liu Bu's assassination of Dongzhuo, he would eventually be chased out of Chang'an after Li Jue and Guo Si's forces retook the city and the emperor. But Yuan Shu did not trust Liu Bu, as he would turn him away. Now, there is one source that points out to the fact that Liu Bu had pillaged the areas around Nanyang to replenish his force beforehand, which ultimately upset Yuan Shu, who then turned him away, but I do question the rationale behind this source, as Yuan Shu himself was recorded to have pillaged much of the Nanyang commandery during his occupation to enrich himself and build up his forces. So while Liu Bu's pillaging might have been seen as an encroachment on Yuan Shu's authorities, I doubt it would have been enough of a reason for Yuan Shu to dismiss Liu Bu from a moral standpoint. Either way, in late 192, Yuan Shu would turn down Liu Bu's service to only find himself on the defensive against Liu Biao, who, after recovering from the siege of Xiangyang, proceeded to cut off all the food and supply routes leading into Nanyang from the Jin province, as Liu Biao intended to starve Yuan Shu out of the commandery. And this supply blockade worked, as Yuan Shu would be forced to look elsewhere for food as he turned on the neighboring provinces of Yu. And Cao Cao's forces in this area responded in force, leading to a series of battles that ultimately ended with Yuan Shu's army fleeing south to Shouchun in the Yang province. Now, with Yuan Shu completely evicted from Nanyang, Liu Biao finally consolidated his control over the entire Jin province. And this control was also reinforced with a laundry list of new titles granted to Liu Biao from the new imperial court led by Li Jue and Guo Si. As not long after Dong Zhuo's assassination in 192, Liu Biao wisely sent a convoy with tributes to the new court in Chang'an as a demonstration of his continued loyalty to the imperial court. Delighted to receive tribute payments, Li Jue ordered official Zhong Yao to travel to Xiangyang to award Liu Biao with new titles, including a new general title called Zhennan Jiangjun, or the general who pacified the south. His former prefect of the Jin province title is also elevated to governor, with the major difference being that the governor title had full military and administrative control over the entire province, while the prefect was only the imperial court inspector with supervision of the province but no direct military control. In terms of nobility titles, Liu Biao was also named Chengwu Hou, or the Marquis of Chengwu. Additionally, Li Jue also granted Liu Biao the right to appoint his own officials within the commandery without court approval. Liu Biao was also given the Jiajie, which give him independent military command. And additionally, he was also given military control over matters not just in the Jin province, but also the right to control the Jiao province, the Yi province, and Yang province. And this last part is important, as this was pretty much an empty appointment, as the local forces within these three frontier provinces would never listen to Liu Biao or even the imperial court based on this simple appointment alone. But Li Jue wanted to give Liu Biao this official appointment, hoping that he would be able to use his own forces to eventually bring these three frontier provinces back under the control of their new imperial court. Furthermore, we're going to see that many of Liu Biao's attempt at expanding his influence outside the Jin province will actually follow this directive, as Liu Biao would try multiple times to expand his influence in these neighboring provinces. And to find out exactly how Liu Biao tried to expand his influences into these neighboring provinces, come back next time, as we'll continue our story from here. So hopefully y'all have enjoyed this episode enough to consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this on Three Kingdoms history, or support the channel by leaving a comment below, or simply hit that like button, as our next episode for the series will drop once this video hits 300 likes. And as always, I'll see you all then. Bye!